right.
Hello and welcome to our daily show where we talk about personal and financial development. Today we are talking about wealthy mindset versus poor mindset. So what makes up a wealthy mindset? What makes up a poor mindset? Which one do you have and how can you change it if you want to, right? The mindset is so important. Your mindset is so important. It's what leads to all of the other things that create or destroy your success. So we're going to talk about it today. As you come in, please let us know where you're tuning in from. Like, comment, and share. Tag anyone you know that would like this information. Ask your questions, comments, concerns, all of the above. If you don't already know who we are, we're Martin and Chelsea Matthews. We're founders of M Wealth Group, financial consulting and investment agency. We're also authors of this book, Let's Fight About Money, helping couples communicate about money, handle conflict, and build an unbreakable financial house, which is our mission, to help you build an unbreakable financial house so you can handle anything that comes your way financially and create the life you truly want to live and make the impact you truly want to make. So today we're talking about wealthy mindset versus poor mindset.
Yes. Wealthy mindset. What's up, Clearwater, Florida? Somebody says, give all the ways to make money. We're going to talk about that because that is a wealthy approach. Why do wealthy people approach creating value, creating abundance, wealth, even when they're already wealthy? Why do they keep producing and making more money? So we'll talk about that today. So why don't you give them? We'll start on the poor mindset so that you can identify this stuff. And here's the thing about this. You could have people who love you in return, and you're trying to get somewhere in life to a certain success level, and they could have some of these symptoms of this poor mindset. And then you got a decision that you make. Once you identify this person kind of thinks this way or that's their view, do you keep them around or do you give them the boot? Lovingly give them the boot, okay? You don't have to keep people around you who are not pushing you to get to where you're trying to go. So that's some of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yes. And so really, I mentioned it a moment before, is that everything really starts in your mindset. It really is such a huge part of the results in your life because the way that you think affects how you feel, and the way that you feel affects how you act. Now, there are other things that, when we talk about discipline and habit and all of that stuff, you can start to overcome some of the ways that you're thinking and feeling when they're not supporting you. But as we go through these poor mindset versus wealthy mindset, I want you to start to think about and identify if you have any of these traits or any of these tendencies, and think about how they're affecting, good or bad, your results in life. So like Martin said, we'll go over the poor mindset first. And these are just a few of the things. These are not like all of the poor mindset traits and everything. There's many different things, but these are some of the big ones. So the first thing with a poor mindset is they resent other people's success. So do you know anyone, or do you ever find yourself thinking, when you see someone winning, or you see someone having more than you, or you see someone having major success, do you ever resent them and feel like, why is it not me? Or, oh, they must have done something shady to get that success. Or they didn't really work that hard. It was given to them. Do you find yourself like making excuses of why somebody has a certain level of excuse or a certain level of success? Because that can be very, very dangerous. And here's something to realize and to think about too, is that whatever you think about other people and their success or their results, that is actually going to reflect back on you. Because if you resent somebody for having success, then are you going to think that you are earning everything that you have? Or are you going to think that you have to do something shady to get success? Like, how you think about other people's results is going to spill over into how you feel about your own results. And actually, the way it actually starts with you, because the way that you feel about somebody else is actually, it's all a reflection.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of how you feel about you and your results.
So Darling Dell says, I know a couple of people like that. Yeah, we all know a lot of those people. So they exist out there, and look, you got to validate the things you want in life, right? So if you want, there's this one little stupid saying that I dislike, but it seemed to be somewhat popular in social media, and it's like, pay attention to the people who are not clapping when you're winning. This is very stupid to me. Like, why would I pay attention to people who are not clapping for me when I'm winning? Why would I want to pay attention instead of paying attention to people who support me when I'm winning, who encourage me who encourage me, who exchange with me? Why would I not pay attention to those people, but I should pay attention to the people who are not clapping when I'm winning? That's a weird, odd way to put your attention. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if I put my attention on negativity, that's where my energy is going to go, towards negativity. If I put my attention on positivity, that's where it's going to go. So whenever I see somebody, whenever you see somebody winning, and here's the truth: when you see somebody winning and succeeding, think about how that person got there. A lot of times, don't think about, oh, that person's a scammer, maybe they did something negative. That's your own resentment, that you want to invalidate that person's success because maybe you don't have that same level of success. So maybe you should look at that. We're not trying to say that's what it is. I'm just saying maybe you should look at that and see, do you resent that person because they've got something that you want, but you don't have? So somebody asking us a question about taxes here. If you're married, can you file separately and not as joint? Yes, when you're married, you can file separately, but you have to ask, you have to look at why even makes sense, because there's credits you get when you're married that you may not get otherwise.
Yeah, so the person says I pay too much filing married, but you actually get like more credits and write-offs by
that's why people file together.
Yeah.
So
you may need a different tax person.
Yeah, you probably need a different tax person to look at different credits you can get. There's lots of different little things you can do. You can even start a side business that opens doors for deductions. If you have kids, you can hire your kids. This is a whole different conversation, but there's different things you can do. You probably just need a new tax person when it comes to that. Someone says, pay attention to those not clapping because they are plotting your downfall. This is an interesting point. Yes, we're married. This is an interesting point. If you have people around you that are plotting your downfall, why are they around you?
Yes, he put a ring on it.
Yeah. Why are they around you? And I'm not talking to anybody specifically. I'm just asking in general. Like, if you think there's somebody that means that person is an enemy to you. Why do you the whole stupid idea, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer, all of that. Don't buy into mafia movies that say stuff because they're saying something for a movie as a cool little saying. Why would I keep my enemies close to me? That makes no sense. Wouldn't I want the supportive people around me? You realize when you have a bunch of enemies, what happens is quicker for people to take you. So why would I keep my enemies close to me? That does not make sense. I get the saying, but it wouldn't make sense for me because I want positivity and supportive people around.
Yeah, I get the part about pay attention because not so much that, you don't want to like spend all your attention focusing on those people, but it is good to know who is not supportive of you, who could be plotting against you. Like you said, there are people that could plot against you actively. And so it is important to know who those people are so that you could get rid of them and not have to waste your time and attention and energy on them. And going back to the resenting other people's success, I'll admit I've been guilty of that. I've been guilty of having envy of, other people's success, and why don't I have that success yet? And why am I not at this level? And how come they're at this level? How come they have this? And actually, that was something that I had to recognize within myself. Growing up, I always felt like people were ahead of me. Always. Even if they were behind me in a lot of areas, it was like, I would only see the parts where they were like doing better than me. And then I would feel bad about what areas I wasn't winning in. So this was something I had to actually actively work on to switch, you know, and I'm not perfect at it. Sometimes I do look at people and think, gosh, why are they there and I'm not? But then now I use that as fuel. Okay, so how did they get there? Okay, so you know, what was it that got them there and how can I use that to get myself there? So that leads to the next trait about a poor mindset. Were you gonna say something else?
Yeah. So Darling Dell said, so she had a manager that would plot against her. She was insecure and afraid to lose the job. Yeah, there are people who are hostile towards you, and sometimes they're hidden, right? They're hidden, and you can't always see them right away.
I had a coworker like that.
She had a coworker like that. My sister dealt with 2 people like that in the workplace, and they were covert about it. So once you spot those people, you gotta get rid of them. And like even in the case of a manager, it's hard to get rid of the manager because they're manager over you. But yeah, a lot of people are like that. They're afraid that you're going to take their job, and they're scared of you. People who are hostile towards you, but they're hidden. They try to hide. They're afraid of you, and so that's how they do that. They're afraid that you're more powerful than them.
Because if they're doing better than you, then you're not a threat. They don't need to sabotage you.
Yeah, so it comes from a place of fear.
Okay, so the next trait for poor mindset is that they believe your success means less for them. So this comes out a lot when talking about wealthy people, and you know that they're taking from others. You know that they're taking from, especially like with maybe business owners, they're taking from their employees. Now there can be some bad employers and bad company owners, and you know. But this mindset is very dangerous. All of these are the poor mindset traits are very dangerous because any of these that you have and are carrying and don't get rid of, then it will affect your ability to create success. That's why it's called a poor mindset, because then you end up being poor. Because if you think negatively about people who are successful, then you won't be successful, because most people are good people. You're a good person. You want good things. You don't want bad things for others. And so if you think something's bad about the people who have success, then you are not going to create success for yourself because you don't want to be bad. So if you think that having more success takes from somebody else, then you're not going to reach for your full potential of success because you don't want to take from somebody else.
Yeah.
But then you're going to resent the people that do create success because they reached for their success and they understood that it's not taking from somebody else. There's enough success and enough wealth to go around, but you have to have the right mindset and the right actions to create it.
Yeah. By the way, the government wants you to be poor. The government doesn't want you to be rich. What's the one thing they tell you to do? They tell you to envy rich people. They tell you rich people are bad. Rich people don't pay their taxes, blah, blah, blah.
A lot of them are rich.
Some people in the government, they continually give you bad information about people. You realize that your government is the biggest, baddest pimp that ever existed on this planet. The government is the biggest, baddest pimp that ever existed. Imagine that the government is such bad in the world of pimping. In the world of pimping, the lady, she goes and she does what she does. She collects the money. She brings it to the pimp. Right? The U.S. government, there are women pimps.
Is there?
They're female pimps. Yeah. The U.S. government is such a pimp, such a big pimp that they take the money from you before you even get it. That's how much of a pimp they are. Before you get your paycheck, they take the money from you. In the pimp world, the lady gets the money and then she brings it to the pimp. They don't even trust you that much. They trust you less than that. They trust you less than the pimp trusts the working lady. You understand? They don't even trust you that much because they don't think you're going to pay them, because they know what they're doing is not proper or correct. Think about it. If they thought it was fair, why wouldn't the government just let you collect all your money and then send them their taxes? Because you want to do it. So they have to take it out of your paycheck
Didn't they
before you
try
even
that in
get
the
it.
beginning?
They tried that. Nobody did it. They tried that like, oh, we got to change all the rules. People were like,
Sending
no,
you
I'm
my
not sending
money.
this money. So unless you then have a business, because business owners will lobby you for different things. But understand the whole idea that believing success, they want you to believe that if you are an employee in a company, that if the company is successful, that somehow the employer is stealing your production, even though the government is the one actually steals your production because they give you nothing in exchange for your taxes. Your exact taxes. Nobody can tell me exactly the money you pay in taxes is exactly what specifically you get. You as an individual, what specifically
Yeah, why don't we get a
you
receipt
get from it.
with
You
a
send,
breakdown of services?
you send them money and you get no receipt back saying, okay, based on this money you sent to us, here's the itemized things we did.
And we just get a bill. It doesn't even say for what.
Yeah. So understand they believe they want you, the government wants you to be poor because they believe they keep you poor by taking more of your money. If the government wanted you to be rich, wouldn't they just not tax you? Wouldn't you have more opportunities to become richer?
Increase taxes like they just did?
Yeah. So understand they have that mindset that want to keep you at a certain level because if you rise up, you wouldn't need the government so much. They want to keep people poor so they can control you. If you're poor, they say, oh, you know what? We're going to take from these rich people over here and we're going to come give it to you. And so that's how they pimp you. They get people buying into that mindset that they're going to come and take care of you to keep you down, to keep you poor. And then they have the red versus blue and this versus that, and they keep you fighting. They keep people fighting with each other because when you're fighting, you're not thinking about success. You're arguing with somebody else over random crap. Right. So understand that the poor mindset believes that success means less for them. And that's what your government tries to get you to believe, that somebody else's success means less for you, that this guy making $1 billion means less for you. You know how false that is? Do you know that in the year 2000, the monetary supply was only 4.8 trillion? And do you know that today the monetary supply is over 20 trillion? So if the monetary supply just magically inflated, how come to think the guy who has $1 billion is somehow taking from you? They're not taking from you. Amazon, Jeff Bezos doesn't take from you. In fact, you buy stuff from a business he created. So yeah, that's why they don't teach financial literacy or entrepreneurship, because they do not want you to take control. They don't want you to take control of your own finances, over your stuff, over the things you're trying to do and get ahead. So you got to shift from a poor mindset to a wealthy mindset.
Okay, so last trait we're going to talk about having to do with poor mindset, and then we're going to get into wealthy mindset and what you can do to take some actions to create more success in your life. So last trait for a poor mindset is believes they can't be successful, so they pretend they don't want it and shrink their dreams and goals. So think about any time that this happens. You see this with kids. They are like free, big thinkers. They want to be dinosaurs, astronauts, rock stars, anything their imagination can think of. They want to be. There's no limits, right? And then and you may think about when you were a kid, some of the things you wanted to be. I wanted to be a rock star, movie star. And I was sure, that all of these things are going to happen. And, then as you get a little bit older and maybe you hear no from your parents and think realistically and be reasonable, and you go to school and you hear no from your teachers and be quiet and just sit down and do your work. And then, you get a little older and you get a job and, you start having more responsibilities and you start having more bills. And then, the world just kind of starts shrinking a little bit. And then you start thinking, man, I don't know if those dreams and goals are a reality. I don't know if I can really make that happen. And you start not believing in yourself and not believing in your goals. And you start shrinking and just thinking, well, maybe I could just, have a good life and be comfortable, And so then you start convincing yourself, that was a little bit too crazy. That's a little too, I don't really want that, goal. That's too big. I'd rather have this modest little, comfortable, attainable life. And then you start convincing yourself that you don't really want what you really want in life. And that's why when we talk about building an unbreakable financial house so that not only you can pay your bills, you can create the life you truly want to live, not the life that you think you can live or that you are living if it's not the exactly ideal life that you want to live, but like to be able to have all your goals and dreams be a reality. But this is something that happens, as we start shrinking and the weight of the world and the no's and the this, and maybe we try to reach a goal and then we fail and it becomes too painful to try again. And so we just tell ourselves, maybe I don't really want that.
Yeah. So hit him with what's the wealthy mindset? Let's get to those parts.
All right. So wealthy mindset. 3 traits that we're going to talk about with a wealthy mindset person is they celebrate other people's success. So this is something that you can start practicing also if you're not already doing. But when you see somebody that's very successful, acknowledge them. Anytime when someone tells me they're winning in their business and I'm like, hey, congrats on your success. That's awesome. Somebody makes a post about, win in their business or a win in their life. Like give them a comment, give them a heart, like flow them some power, flow them some energy, flow them some, excitement, because just like you would want somebody to cheer for you when you win, is you got to cheer for others too. And especially when you see people accomplishing amazing things, especially something that you want to accomplish, you got to celebrate that, man. You got to flow them some excitement. And that way, you are opening up the flows for you to be successful. And also you can expect people to cheer for you when you win.
Yeah. So look, if you can't celebrate others, other people wouldn't even celebrate for you. So whenever we go somewhere and then somebody wins something or somebody gets acknowledged, we always clap for people. If somebody does a good job at a speech, we always stand. We're one of the first people that will start clapping, and then other people start clapping because they see you doing it. Always celebrate and validate the things you want in life. All right. And encourage people, even famous people. You will be surprised how many famous people that we've met. Before I got into the financial industry, years ago, I used to work in, this was many, many years ago. When I first got into America, I was here a few years. And then I worked at a radio station. It was a hip hop radio station in Minneapolis. And I got to meet all these hip hop artists, all these people. And interesting thing is when you tell these people something you genuinely like about them, something that you actually do like, they will pause and they want to be acknowledged, not like you were like a fanboy or whatever, because they get that all the time. But when you acknowledge people, even famous people, they're like, man, we're in the airport, we saw Coolio. We're in the airport, we saw Coolio, and I'm like, oh, there's Coolio, let's go say hi. So we go over to go say hi to him, and I was like, man, we used to listen to your music growing up in Africa. I'm like, my part of my childhood was listening to your music. And he stopped and he had a conversation with us. He's telling us all kinds of stories when he went to Africa. I won't tell you some of the stories that he was telling us. But he was telling us.
So nice.
He was a cool guy. I took some photos with him.
Coolio
everything.
Is definitely Coolio.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Really, really like and admire that guy. But that was something very true. Growing up in Africa, we would listen to his music all the time. And so it was like we watched the music video and we just thought he was like a genius, like with his music. And so so validate that even when you meet people, share something that you like about. This is so easy to do on social media. Famous people all the time. Look at the comments on famous people. I mean, so a lot of them like they got their fans and people saying positive things about them, but so many people just say negative things over and over and all kinds of. Like that reflects that person who's saying something negative. So celebrate other people's success.
All right. Second wealthy mindset trait is believe success is earned by the value you create for others. So you'll notice that These traits are basically the opposite of the poor mindset. Poor mindset we were talking about, believes that success takes from others. So this one is we believe that it is our responsibility to be as successful as we possibly can, because our success is a representation of how many people we help, the value that we provide others, and that value we get exchanged with monetarily through money. So the more money that our company makes, that means the more value that we're providing. We know that we provide a valuable, important, needed service. And so the more people that we can help, the more we're improving our environment, the more that we're helping others to create more financial stability and more financial success. And then in turn, we get rewarded with more financial success as well. So we know that the more success we create, the better that we are helping people survive and the better we get to survive. We know that we're providing something good. And so we look at it as, it's not about taking from others. It's not about if we're successful, then other people lose. No, when we're successful, other people win. Our clients win. Our employees win. Our company wins. All the people around us win. And so it's looked at as, we better freaking succeed.
Absolutely. And one of the things we do every day in our company, we do a morning meeting, and then we talk about wins. We talk about something that is happening, some client we've helped, somebody who's winning, something great happening, something positive happening, all that. We want to celebrate and validate winning and success. And other thing is, that anybody who tries to tell you that the billionaires, they want to hate on the billionaires, right? Anybody who's a billionaire, you realize that if you zero out all of the billionaires, it's not enough for you to actually put a dent, for you to get rid of the deficit in America. If you zero out all the billionaires in America, you won't get rid of the deficit. That means your government, when it's telling you all these billionaires don't pay their fair share, if they take all of the wealth, if they confiscate the wealth of all the billionaires in America, it's still not enough to solve the deficit, which is the gap in which the government has gone into debt, and they cannot. The overall debt that the government has. So they actually can't. They only want to give you somebody to attack or be mad at, because they don't want you to be mad at them. So what you need to do,
a sleight of hand game.
Yeah, and so the billionaires, they've just created that much value. Most of the billionaires in America are first generation, which means they did not inherit the money. So they went and made something of themselves. They created something. They built a company. They built a business that became worth that much. And so these are people who are value creators. And I think in any society, value creators should be celebrated. Politicians, they don't create jobs, yet they will attack the guy who's created hundreds of thousands of jobs. They'll attack that guy, but they themselves don't create any jobs. Government does not create jobs. Businesses and organizations that come together, they create jobs, not the government. The government only takes from you. The government doesn't give you anything. The only way the government has something is because they're taking it from other people. So I'm on a rant against the government today. I'm just saying.
It's like a magician, they're doing a card trick. The trick is over here in their hand, but they're saying, oh, look over here, blah, 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 while they're doing the thing over here. That's the government. All right. Number 3 trait of wealthy mindset is believes they can and will be successful and think really big. So anytime, this is something that I also have had to work at. All of these I've had to work at. And anytime when I would start feeling like a goal is too big or maybe unattainable, is I would tell myself this: well, I have 2 choices. I can win or I can lose. So I can go for it or I can give up. Well, I don't want to give up. I don't want to be a loser. I don't want to, just not even try. So the worst thing that can happen is you can go for it and maybe come up short. But what if you go for it and you reach your goal? What if you make all your dreams and goals come true? And would you rather, people when they get older and they say in life, they never regret something that they went for. but they do regret things that they didn't go for. So like, just go for it, man. And, you know, anytime that I have a hard time thinking big, or I want to shrink my thinking, or I'm afraid, it's okay to be afraid. You know, anything outside of your comfort zone can be scary. And that's usually where all your growth, all your success, all your win happens. It doesn't happen staying comfortable. It happens when you get uncomfortable and you do things that you're not sure if you can actually do. And that's how you actually start to see what you're truly capable of, what your potential is when you do things you haven't done, when you do things you don't know if you could actually do. And then how good do you feel when you accomplish something you didn't know if that you could actually do?
Yeah, it's how you see what you're made of. So you have to believe in yourself. And even when nobody else believes in you, you have to figure out a way you can believe in yourself. And sometimes you just have to have small successes. Any big success started with a series of small successes, small wins that accumulate. All those little wins that accumulate actually help you build more confidence. The more confidence you have, the more you are likely to go bigger and bigger and bigger, because you feel like you can handle those things, or you'll figure it out. Never underestimate your ability to figure things out. You have a tremendous ability to figure things out. And all these people who are very successful, I met a lot of wealthy people. They're not tremendously smarter than the average person. And sometimes that is their power. They're not necessarily smarter. They don't think of themselves as smarter. They just either work harder, they think bigger.
They don't give up.
They don't give up. They're persistent. All these wealthy people failed. They've come close to massive failures, lots of them. So anyway, we thought we'd just come online and share some of that with you. And we have a resource for you, a free resource that might be helpful for you.
So as you work on your mindset, then you can look at, okay, what actions are going to help me to reach the next level of my success, wherever you are right now. And one of the things is to understand what makes up your financial house, so that you know what pieces to put into place if you're trying to create more success. There's actually 6 areas that make up your financial house. And we have a free introductory course that you can actually take and learn what these 6 building blocks are and what you need to do to strengthen them, no matter where you are. If you're just starting out or you've created massive success, these principles apply to everyone, because it's about identifying, first learning what they are, identifying where you are, and then depending on where you want to go, figuring out the exact steps that you need to take to get there. So you can go to 6buildingblocks.com/intro, 6buildingblocks.com/intro, and you can take advantage of that free course. It's about a 30-minute course, so it's really fast. And if you guys have any questions, comments, please feel free to reach out. We love hearing from you, and hope you enjoyed this content.
Thank you. And we'll see you guys